Right, so I'm just coming up for 750 miles on the Street Cup. Just under 3 months, and not a bad time to review how she is. In no particular order, but just because it occurred to me a moment ago, I have to say one of the best things about this bike is the bar end mirrors. They provide a fantastic rearward view on both sides, with me not actually in the way. Secondly, I don't know whether you can hear, but the noise of that engine is just fantastic. It just burbles along all the time with an absolutely amazing sound, and you just know you're on a fabulous bike just from the noise it makes. Thirdly, not the sound of the engine, but actually the performance of the engine. I know these street twin based bikes, or at least the not the street twin, the modern Bonneville classics, are based on this Bonneville engine, either the high torque in the case of the Street Cup, the street twin, the T100, or the so-called high power in respect of the T120, and the Thruxton. And the high torque version only produces something like 54 horsepower, but it is so torquey low down, and all that power is just where you need it to be. You know, it peaks in terms of torque at about 3,250 revs, and it's just a perfect place actually to be riding your bike. I mean, I'm riding this at the moment in second. I should probably change up to third, but I'm doing mid-30s in second very, very comfortably. You know, the bike, as you may have seen then as I pulled away from that junction, in first gear you're good for 20-25 with plenty of power all the way, and it doesn't actually sound like you're revving the 4-letter words, or 7-letter words probably technically, off the bike. It's got plenty of go. You change up when you're ready, but it gives you that power really in the range sort of 2,500 to 5,000 revs, and you can go so far before you need to change up. It is just fabulous. You know, I'm riding along at 30 in second. If I was on my Tiger, I would be in third, potentially even maybe fourth, and the bike would sound not noisier but whinier. This bike's very comfortable in first gear actually, so I changed down to first there without really thinking about whether first was the right gear. I just changed down, and it happens to be that I'm in first, but I'm very comfortable riding along at 20. I know that when I want to accelerate I can do so in first without a great deal of drama, whereas on the Tiger I would need to be in second, and I'd be thinking maybe even about third very quickly. So the engine is just fabulous. The gearbox and clutch, so smooth, so easy. Fourthly, the brakes. They're not the most powerful brakes in the world, but what that means actually is obviously you need to ride the bike sensibly, but if you do, there's no drama when it comes to using the brakes. And that's really nice when you're coming to a stop gradually. You're not sure whether you're going to have to stop or not. A bit of slow riding. And of course the key to slow riding normally is use your foot brake, and I do use my foot brake. But actually if I grab the front brake, it doesn't cause you to lurch and lose control of the bike. They're reasonably gentle, progressive, and you can just, and I often do, choose to use the front brake, as I'm doing now, not touching the back brake, just to bring the bike gently to a stop. Whereas if I tried that on the Tiger, you know, the bars would suddenly be dropping down because you'd be grabbing a little bit too much brake. Not because you were grabbing too much, but because grabbing any of that front brake is, on many bikes, a little bit of a challenge. Next thing, and it's sort of associated with it, is the seat height. This is such a easy bike to get your feet down. Both feet, not very high. A bit higher than the Street Twin, but not very high. And therefore, if you're not sure whether you're going to have to stop or not, you're doing a bit of slow riding, the guy in front's fanning around, you're not sure how quickly he's going to pull away and the lights have changed, whatever it may be, you don't need to worry about putting your feet down, because it's actually pretty straightforward to do so. So quite a low riding seat height, slightly higher than the Street Twin, which is very low, but nowhere near as high as, you know, many adventure bikes and similar. And sitting here, both feet comfortably flat. I'm 6 foot, both feet comfortably flat, and comfortably flat with a bend, you know, a reasonable bend in the knees as well, which among other things makes it easy to paddle the bike. And I'm sure they're red, mate, as I'm going to do here, just for dramatic effect. Makes it easy to paddle the bike, which is very handy when you're parking. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you know, when you're trying to turn the bike around, maybe to put it in a garage, something like that. Manual handling, really easy, because you can just sit astride the bike and paddle it, with or without the engine on, actually. Paddle it wherever you want to, backwards and forwards. And actually manual handling generally, not just when you're sitting astride the bike, manual handling generally is a lot easier by the height of the bike. So it is a very, very friendly bike in so many different ways. Then I like the instruments. Street Twin's just got a speedo, no rev counter, tachometer, but tachograph, whatever you call these things nowadays. But this has got both, and good combination of analog and digital. So you've got the you know, the analog needles going around on the speedo and the rev counter, and then inside you've got all the information you could reasonably expect: time of day, mileage, petrol, distance to empty, trip meters, and so on. So many things that are really nice about the bike, and I haven't even mentioned yet just the way the bike looks. This is a bike which never fails to attract admiring looks whenever you stop and park up. Particularly, of course, from the older generation who say, "Oh, it's a Triumph. That's what Triumphs look now. Crikey, that looks very much like the bike I used to ride when blah 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 blah." So it is fabulous with the older generation, and even actually among bikers when you stop at a cafe or something. When you stop at a cafe or something, it's one of the bikes, obviously there are others, but it's one of the bikes that people come over to have a look at because it is a bit different. Helped, of course, by the fantastic colour scheme, this yellow and silver, which sort of stands out and says to people, you know, just come and look at me, chaps. But they do come and look at it. And so it's a bike that you'll be delighted and proud to own. And I have to say, you know, from my perspective, it feels like a bike that, even if I don't ride it very often, maybe I've got other bikes as well, I find it very difficult emotionally to trade this in, because it feels like a bike that I want to look on over the years and say, thank heavens I've still got that, what a fabulous bike it is. And the only thing that lets it down, which I've noticed today riding it for the first time in a little while, having been on my Tiger most of the time over the last 2 or 3 weeks, is that the indicators don't self-cancel. So I'm back to my Mod 2 days, making sure I don't get a minor. So that's it. I've said in previous videos this was my very first bike, and so I just passed my test in December, and after much arming and ahhing and fancying all sorts of bikes, I decided that the Street Twin platform, and in this case the Street Cup variant of the Street Twin, was the most sensible decision to make as a first bike, and it's proven to be a great decision. Yes, having lusted after a Tiger and wanting to do the old let's go and travel some distance with some mates thing, yes, I've also got a Tiger now, and I do more miles on the Tiger than I do on this, but for what I wanted it for, a safe first bike, and indeed a first big bike, absolutely meets the spec. Can I see myself getting rid of it? Only very, very reluctantly one day, maybe. This is a keeper. So try one. You'll probably love them too. And there she is on this beautiful sunny day.